Okay, and with that, I should be live. How's it going, everybody? Oh, we have 10 concurrent viewers. Not bad, I'll take it. Right, so, in case you guys aren't aware, I did some reordering and bookmarking of the Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Demons, Chaos Knights, and all the specialty cult legions. They've all been rebookmarked and reordered, so they're a little less chaotic, but not too much, I don't think. You can find links to them in the description of this stream and on a related YouTube post. Hey, the mate, how's it going? Yes, Verado. Yes, I didn't do a stream for the special Space Marine chapters, but they have been reordered, and there is a post, a YouTube post, with links to where you could download those. But today I wanted to go over the Chaos stuff, most likely not all of it, because there are quite a few indices to look through. But I wanted to look at the Chaos Space Marines in particular to see if things are, any areas of poor ruling on GW's part, let's say. Games Workshop has a habit of doing them dirty, so... and because I have I have a relatively small Word Bearers collection, I'm somewhat invested in them. And I want to take a look at the Chaos Demons, Slaanesh Demons in particular. Oh, is the Master of Possession missing his bookmark? Is that right? Okay, here's what I'll do. Thank you, Fatal Error, for letting me know. So I'm going to make a little note on my little notepad here. And I'll make sure to update that after the stream is done, and I'll re-upload them. Okay. Yeah, and if anyone else has anything else to add, bookmarks that have been mislabeled or bookmarks that are missing, just let me know. Okay, so we are looking at the Chaos Space Marines first. Just reorganizing my windows here so I can keep an eye on OBS and the chat at the same time. Okay, so Chaos Space Marine Army rules. As we are familiar, they are Dark Pacts. If your army faction is Heretic Astartes, each time a unit with this ability is selected to shoot or fight, it can make a Dark Pact. If it does select one of the following abilities for that unit's weapon to gain, and for that unit's weapons to gain until the end of the phase, lethal hits or sustained hits 1. And then each time a unit makes a Dark Pact, after it has resolved its attacks, it must take a leadership test. If that test is failed, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So you have a pedal to the metal type situation where you can potentially hurt yourself. And the odds aren't... I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen where you take mortal wounds based on the leadership values of the Chaos Space Marines. But you do get some pretty significant benefits. And I like the flexibility that it offers. Given the situation that you find yourself in, you need to hit above your weight class, you go with lethal hits. If you need to take out a horde of, Hormagaunts, you go with the lethal hits. Grim Dankness, I see your comment. Will I later cover the Divergent Space Marine chapters? I could. I could do that as a bonus stream or a later stream. I wasn't planning to, only because I skipped yesterday because I just don't collect any of those factions, and I didn't know you guys were enjoying this so much. So with the benefit of hindsight, I would have covered them at least in some capacity. My apologies on that one. Lost in the Damned rules here basically allow you to make use of the Khorne Berserkers, Rubric Marines, and Death Guard datasheets. So replace the faction keyword. Okay, detachment rule. This is what I was most curious about because GW didn't bother sharing this crucial information on their faction focus. I sort of guessed that it would be Marks of Chaos given how some of the stratagems were worded, but now we have true confirmation this is the case. So, Marks of Chaos. When mustering your army, each time you select a Heretic Astartes unit to include in your army, if that unit is not an epic hero and does not already have one or more of the keywords listed below, you must select one of the keywords listed below for that unit to gain. Note which units gain these keywords in this way on your army roster. Each time a unit with one of these keywords makes a Dark Pact, it gains the associated ability below until the end of the phase. So, it doesn't seem like there's any points associated with this, which I like to see. It's a positive change from the 9th edition codex, I think, at least in terms of the attacks of it. But let's see what these abilities are. Khorne is Blood Fury. In the fight phase, if that unit's weapons gained lethal hits ability this phase as the result of a Dark Pact, each time a model in this unit makes an attack and a modified hit roll of 5 plus scores a critical hit. So lethal hits, they all look the same. The bottom two are sustained hits, but it's shooting phase. Okay, so you have... So Khorne works with... Okay, I see. So, essentially what we have here is each mark allows you to expand the critical hit threshold from 6 plus to 5 plus, and but only with regards to either shooting or combat, with Khorne and Slaanesh offering combat expanded critical hit thresholds, and Tzeentch and Nurgle offering it for shooting. But then between those two, you have lethal hits and sustained hits. So what's interesting is I'm just thinking of my own, some of my Slaanesh marked stuff is more shooting oriented as a consequence of 8th edition codex. The 8th edition codex was Mark of Slaanesh was good for shooting because you could double shoot. So in actuality, the Mark of Slaanesh in this codex looks to be focusing only on the fight phase, which is fluffy enough. I can't complain about that. And it would boost the exploding hit rolls threshold from 6 plus to 5 plus. I mean, but with that said, you still could use your shooting units to get sustained hits on them if you were a die-hard Slaanesh Delightful Agony's 8th edition enjoyer. Very interesting. I don't think that should be underestimated. Expanding the critical threshold like doubles the rate at which you would obtain criticals. It seems pretty good. The Rubik's Cubist, cool name, says, I'm happy that the World Eaters look amazing now that their index has shown how they can manipulate the blessings heavily. Ah, yes, indeed. I did not do a deep dive on the World Eater. I mean, this is my deep dive right now for this codex, so I just reorganized and bookmarked them, so I took a quick gander at a few units that caught my eye, but I didn't take a look at the particulars. We have restrictions at the bottom for the marks, the usual suspect of Khorne and Psychers, and a character with the leader ability can only be attached to a bodyguard unit if both of those units share one of the same keywords from the list above. Yeah, so you can't take your Tzeentch guy and put him in a Khorne squad. That makes sense to me. Stratagems. So there was again, this is my deep dive of this index, and with that said, even with my cursory glance, I noticed something very awkward, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys. Maybe you can help me figure this out a little bit. So, looking at the Space Marines index here, is this showing up? Yeah, it should. Okay. Looking at the Space Marines index, I'll just slide this over. So, Infernal Rites is the first stratagem here. When in your opponent's shooting or fight phase for 2 CP, just after enemy unit has selected its targets, on one Heretic Astartes unit from your army, select as a target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets this unit, worsen the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. Essentially, it's the same as... Where is it? Stratagems. It's the same as Armor of Contempt. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same wording, actually. But it's 2 CP for Infernal Rites, and it's only 1 CP for Armor of Contempt. I don't believe I'm missing anything in the comparison here. I'm just wondering, is there an aversion of another stratagem for Chaos Space Marines that's 1 CP for them and 2 for the Loyalists? I don't know. We'll have to see. But the 2 CP to do what Space Marines do for 1 CP doesn't feel great as a Chaos player. Okay, Profane Zeal in the shooting or fight phase. 1 heretic starter unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1. If your unit is Chaos Undivided, you can instead reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. Okay, so here's something interesting. Like, you have a pretty interesting incentive to stay undivided, because 1 CP stratagem to reroll all hits and wounds is pretty wild, right? Shooting or fight phase. Reroll hit roll of 1 and wound roll of 1. That's the only restriction. That's not bad, right? Rerolling all hits can help with your Dark Pacts, right? Could get those special effects triggering on those critical hits. So full rerolls is quite good for that, and then rerolling the wounds as well. You can't go wrong, really. And it's just 1 unit. It's eligible for vehicles, characters, whatever. The mate says, don't forget Undivided. Yeah, Undivided. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll hit roll of 1. Okay, so yeah, you just get reroll hit rolls of 1. It doesn't expand the critical hit thresholds, but overall, it does give a little bit of opportunity to be more successful, or obviously, but it also gives more opportunity to get that critical hit as well, just a little bit. Profane Zeal is not a bad stratagem at all. Eternal Hate. In the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. Target 1 heretic storage unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Okay, until then. Oh, it's Fight on Death. Fight on Death, adding 1 to the result if it's a Khorne unit. Okay, so it's a 4-up, but 3-up for Khorne units. You can fight on Death if you have not yet fought. That's quite good. Space Marines do have that for 2 CP, but interestingly, it's on the second page here. Where is it? Only in Death? Yeah, oh, I was right there. Okay. Yes, it's 2 CP for Space Marines, but they don't have to roll, so it's not the same as the Armor of Contempt versus the Infernal Rites. Let's see. Slaves to Darkness. Skin Shift. That sounds pretty gross. In your command phase, 1 heretic storage unit from your army, 1 model in your unit regains up to 3 lost wounds. Not bad, not bad. Much better than D3. In addition, if your unit is a Tzeentch unit below its starting strength, 1 destroyed model, excluding character models, is returned to your unit with its full wounds remaining. Okay, so immediately you're thinking of your very elite units. I mean, it's good enough for legionaries as well, right? But you heal up a Terminator, bring back a Terminator, Mark of Tzeentch for 1 CP. That seems very good. Right, and then what's the benefit of Tzeentch again? It's shooting, lethal hits in shooting. Okay. And it's also good for vehicles too, right? Because there's nothing here stipulating. Yeah, Heretic Astartes units gain Mark of Chaos. That's actually already a huge plus compared. Like, I hated, I loathed that you couldn't mark your demonic units like Possessed in 9th edition. It was so like. Fighting against the lore of what's going on with the units. Yes, the mate. That stratagem, Skin Shift, would be very good on Obliterators, I would imagine. Their datasheet was previewed. Can't recall it offhand, but we'll get down to it soon enough. Unnatural swiftness, for sure the Slaanesh stratagem. Until the end of your turn. Oh, it's in the movement phase. Able to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Very powerful already for 1 CP again. In addition, if your unit is Slaanesh, until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. Okay, 1 CP, Slaanesh unit, advance, shoot, and charge. That's pretty, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And Dark Obscuration. Ah, yes, this was the one previewed on the Faction Focus. Used in your opponent's shooting phase after your opponent has determined a target. You select one of the units that was targeted, and it gains Stealth, which is, I'm pretty certain, a -1 to hit. Chat, you can correct me on that if I'm wrong. And then if it's a Nurgle unit, until the end of the phase, your unit cannot be selected as a target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is not within 12 inches. So it's used in the opponent's shooting phase, so it's valid for using this after Rapid Ingress, right? Rapid Ingress in something horrific, like a unit of 12... No, sorry, not a unit of 12. A unit of, I don't know, something crazy, like 10 Terminators, marked Nurgle, after they've moved, and you say, you can't shoot me. That's kind of terrifying a little bit, right? Can't shoot me, can't charge me. Man. Yeah, right now I'm just so hyped. The most exciting thing for me in the new edition are these dynamic stratagems like Heroic Intervention, Rapid Ingress, and how Overwatch has changed as well. And so I'm often just looking through the Rapid Ingress lens at all the mechanics we see. Okay, enhancements. Talisman of Burning Blood. Okay, one for each mark. Makes sense. Heretic Story's Corn model only. Add 1 to the attacks and strength characteristic of the bear's melee weapons. Each time the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact until the end of the phase, add D3 to the attacks and strength characteristic of the bear's melee weapons instead. Okay, so it's not worse for the Dark Pact. It's at least going to be the same. And I guess you would roll separately for each of those? Or no, maybe just roll 1d3, and whatever the result is, you apply to both. That's how I'm reading that. Still good either way. Still good. It's just you can only go up from 1 to 1 or to 1 to 3. Eye of Tzeentch. Each time the bearer makes a Dark Pact, take a leadership test for the bearer. If it has passed, you gain 1 CP. Nifty. Okay, I'm sensing a trend. A lot of Dark Pact interactions here, which is interesting. And they're all playing with the Mark of Chaos, which is the detachment system, which makes sense. Nurgle, at the end of the enemy fight phase, roll 1d6 for every enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer, adding 1 to the result if the bearer's unit made a Dark Pact that phase. On a 4+, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Interesting. For every enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer, not the bearer's unit. Okay. Yeah, if it was a bearer's unit, it might be a bit too crazy. Intoxicating Elixir. Hi, Grim Dankness, I just saw your comment. Which gives you a better cut, Patreon or YouTube memberships? Probably Patreon. Probably. Yeah. Patreon's better. It's a weird situation with that kind of stuff because you want to build your audience because my content's on YouTube, but Patreon does support me better than YouTube does. Yeah. I don't have much. I have one video for channel members, so take that for what it's worth. The same video is available on Patreon as well. So up to you. No pressure either way. Whatever's more convenient, man. It's all appreciated. The Intoxicating Elixir. Heretic Astartes Slaanesh model only. The bearer has the Feel No Pain 5+ ability. Okay, nice. 5-up feel no pain's always good. Each time the bear shoots or fights, if the bear made a Dark Pact this phase, after the bear has resolved those attacks, select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks. And the enemy unit must take a Battle Shock test. Okay, interesting, interesting. You get to force Battle Shock on units that might not be above or below half strength, and also you force it in the fight phase, right? Yeah, after it shoots or fights. Okay, so yeah, you could force Battle Shock twice on your turn, feasibly. That seems pretty potent, actually. If Battle Shock is going to be as potent as we believe it will be. And the last one is a Liber Hereticus. It's a book. Heretic Astartes Chaos Undivided model only. Each time the bear's unit makes a Dark Pact, that unit's weapons... Oh, the bear's unit. Okay, so this one affects the whole unit. They gain lethal hits and sustained hits 1. So they get both. So your critical hits would auto wound, and you'd score an extra 1. And I assume you get... Chat can verify this for me, actually. I would assume that the extra hit is not also an auto wound. You would probably just roll that one as normal. As a normally scored hit. Or else that might get a bit crazy. Alright, so we're over at units now. Oh. Oh, I see exactly what, shoot. Whoever mentioned that comment about the Master of Possession. Yes, the bookmark is not there. Okay. Oh, we're starting with Abaddon. We've seen him already. He's quite the beefcake here. 8 attacks with devastating wounds on Dracnian. Strength 14, AP 4. That premium AP 4, 3 damage. Talon of a Horse also has devastating wounds. 14 attacks. He's just spinning like a Tasmanian devil with that one claw. Crazy. Or maybe he's just wiggling his fingers very quickly. 14 attacks. I mean, regardless, it's it's pretty potent of a profile there. Dark Destiny, you gain 1 command point when he does a Dark Pact. If he passes his test. Actually, yeah, if he doesn't pass, then you roll on a 2+, you gain a CP. So it's not guaranteed, which is interesting. What are his auras? Paragon of Hatred. Units within 6 inches. Reroll the hit roll. Crazy good. Yeah, it's like a moving castle situation with him now. Oh yeah, invulnerable save for everyone within 6. Same again. Yeah, he's just auras for days, this guy. I'm not an Abaddon enjoy. Well, I just don't have in my collection. But I think Abaddon players will be pretty satisfied by how potent his benefits are. For his allies, anyways. What does he lead? Terminators? Yep, that makes sense. Legionaries. Okay. I thought it might only be Terminators, but Legionaries does... it makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Harkin, World Claimer. The Claimer of Worlds. The character that should have been a Night Lord's character. Just my 2 cents. Hellspear. Okay. A sustained hits D3. A little fun. Some, what's that supposed to simulate? Some impaling action. Oh, it hits real nice, though. Look at that. 8 minus 3, 3 damage. Melee weapons are the Herald's Talon. Oh, he has precision. Interesting. And he finally... I think this is a finally situation, guys. He finally can use his Hellspear in melee. I swear it's... I could be wrong, or I could be mistaken, but I swear it's always been a shooting only, a ranged weapon only. He's looking better offensively, at least, I think. He's got Deep Strike. He's a leader of Raptors, I presume. While he's leading a unit, each time his model's unit ends a charge... Okay, so he has the mortal wound on a 4+ for each model in his unit. I'm pretty sure this is what the Jump Pack Captain had in the Space Marine Index. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if that enemy is below its starting strength, it must take a battle shock test. This ability cannot cause you to take 2 battle shock tests. Okay, so he can force a unit to do battle shock as long as it's below starting strength rather than below half strength, which is a nice little layer of potential battle shock ability. Yep, he joins Raptors. Makes sense. Oh, and he's undivided. Interesting. So is Abaddon also? No, Abaddon's not undivided. He's undivided in everything else. And Harkin is just undivided. Interesting. So Harkin's always re-rolling his hit rolls of 1. Hitting on 2s, always re-rolling 1s. Crazy good. And what are his, what's the stratagem for Undivided again? Profane Zeal, right? Yes. Okay, so you could send him into a squad to take out the leader, re-rolling everything. Fishing for those Dark Pact results. Pretty spicy, pretty spicy. Okay, Lucius the Eternal. Stat line seems pretty alright. Nothing crazy. Doom Siren. Torrent weapon. Doesn't ignore cover. That's interesting. Sonic weapons don't get that benefit that Flamers have. Or so it seems. Range 12, D6. They hit harder though. And melee weapons with the Duelist Sword and Lash of Torment. I think it's new that it's all been rolled into 1. It's Precision, which is already pretty exciting. 8 attacks, weapon skill 2, 5 -2, 2 damage. Not bad. It's more or less the, I want to say, like the champion's profile with regards to strength, AP, and damage, and weapon skill. But the 8 attacks is the difference there. Duelist Pride. Okay, he has fight first, and while he leads a unit, models in that unit have fight first as well. Oh, he's really good. Well, as he should be. Lucius is a very awesome character. Okay, and Armor of Shrieking Souls. Each time this model is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy unit, that unit must take a leadership test. Okay. If that test is passed, the enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Nice, so at least 1, right? If they pass the test, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. If a test is failed, that enemy unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. If mortal wounds inflicted in this way destroy the enemy unit, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, and not within engagement range of any enemy models, with D3 wounds remaining. If this model was attached to a unit when it was destroyed, it must be set back up attached to that unit. Interesting. This is kind of like wild. First of all, it's like incredibly fluffy, but is this just continues until it fails, right? Until someone isn't killed by this death blow, he'll keep respawning, which is very lore accurate, but also, I don't know, depending what you're fighting. If you're fighting a whole bunch of weak units, I think the odds are pretty good he's going to come back. It's exciting. And I think it's a very fun ability. Yes, Flight of Icarus. Very valid point. There's some verbiage in the rules, I think. I think it's in the Demons Codex, where they speak about allying in the different demonic units with different Space Marine legions. Yeah, Emperor's Children only exist if you have Lucius as your warlord. Just like everyone else who isn't special enough, right? Like, you know, you only play Salamanders if you have Vulcan, Histan, or Adrax in the army. It is what it is. Huron Blackheart. Faction keyword. Okay, no Red Corsairs. So at least Emperor's children can be Emperor's children. Oh, jeez. Okay. Moving on. Ranged weapons, Tyrant's Claw, ignores cover, Torrent. Yep, it's a flamer in his fist. A pretty strong flamer. He's got an exalted weapon or the Tyrant's Claw. So a bit of a sweep, and it's not like a world of difference like with these very epic heroes, but he's got a bit of a sweep and strike offering between his two weapons, which is better to have than not have. While this model is leading a unit, add 1 to the OC characteristic of that unit. It's pretty good. That's very good. Oh wait, what does Lucius lead? Okay, Legionnaires, Noise Marines. Makes the sense. Not chosen though, eh? That is weird. Because I'm applying this lens I'm applying the lens of the Space Marine indexes. This idea that you lead what you're similar to. If you're in Terminator armor, you would lead Terminator type units. If you're in normal, normal Astartes plate, you'd be able to join, Havocs or Chosen or whatever. So it's a bit weird to just see those two. Huron's second ability, Red Corsairs. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Heretic Astartes infantry units. Okay, so only infantry, but it's still quite good. And redeploy them, and free strategic reserves, which is quite beneficial. And his psychic power is Hamadria's Knowledge. Once per battle, when an enemy unit ends a normal or advance or fallback move within 9 inches of this model's unit, if this model is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to d6. Nice. Yeah, if someone falls back from his unit, he can chase him. If someone's trying to charge him, he could shift further back. That's it's a strong reactive ability. Hence why it's once per battle. Makes sense to me. Okay, so Huron Blackheart can go with Chosen, interestingly. I wonder if that's a fluff choice for Lucius. Maybe. I don't know. The fabulous Fabius Spile. Surgeon Acolyte has 1 wound. T4, oh, he's tough. He's soft save, though. Okay. His ranged weapon is Zyklos Needler. Anti-infantry 2+, pistol. 3 shots. 18-inch pistol, okay. Strength 2, but it's anti-infantry 2+, right? It's not that bad. It's a pretty potent anti-infantry weapon. It's always winning on 2s with -1/2 damage. Melee, his pimp stick does 6 attacks, strength 5, -3 damage is spicy. The Acolyte makes 1 attack, and his Chigurian, I don't even know what to call that. Those many arms of his make 2 extra attacks. So, he's a 5-up Feel No Pain built in, which is nice. If this unit is attached to a unit at the start of the battle, until the end of the battle, add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by bodyguard models in that unit. Okay, so +1 strength and toughness. Nice. What can you lead, though? Chosen? Okay. Surgeon Acolyte once per turn. When an attack is allocated to a model in this unit, if this unit contains Fabius Bile, you reduce damage characteristic to 1. Okay, once per turn, he reduces damage to 1. He's not bringing guys back the way most apothecaries. I thought that might be a consistency thing we'd see, because we did see even the Death Guard's Plague Surge, and their stand-in apothecary has bring back models ability. I thought maybe Fabius Bile would be able to, but maybe that's not his jam. His Chirugion. How do you pronounce this? Oh, I guess that's a question without an answer. The first time this unit's Fabius Bile model is destroyed, roll 1d6. On a 2+, set it back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, and not within engagement range of any enemy models, with its full wounds remaining. that model was attached to a unit when it was destroyed, it must be set up attached to that unit. Yeah, so he can come back on a 2+. Not bad. Oh, Cypher, okay. His bolt pistol sustained hits 1. 6 attacks on his bolt pistol. Jeez. What? It's so good. His plasma pistol, 3 attacks, also sustained hits 1. So really, is Cypher the kind of guy to make dark packs? I'm not sure. I don't know if what the verdict is on that. Yeah, his shooting's pretty good. It's short range, though. Close combat weapons. Agent of Discord. Once per battle, after your opponent uses a stratagem, if this model's on the battlefield, you can use this ability if it does. Until the end of the battle, increase that stratagem's cost. Ah, that's really good. Very potent ability for the many good stratagems that exist. And guns blazing. Each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, if one or more of those attacks target a friendly Heretic Astartes unit within 3 inches of this model, after that enemy unit has finished making its attacks, this model can shoot as if it were your shooting phase. But when doing so, it must target only that enemy unit. Very, well, it's good. It's free shooting, right? A friendly Heretic Astartes within 3 inches of this model. So it's not his unit. So if his unit is attacked, he can shoot back, for sure. And then it'll be positioning other things around this one guy. But it's only it's a close proximity situation, right? It's only 12 inches. This isn't like the Landspeeder Vengeance, which has a similar ability, if I recall correctly. What does Cypher lead? Oh, he's nothing. So he's, yeah, lone operative. Oh, okay, makes sense. Okay, interesting. So, yeah, now that I'm recalling, looking through this, yeah, no Fallen in the index. Guess you're Fallen or just Legionaries now. That's how you roll them. And Vashtor the Arcathane. T9, 2-up save, 14 wounds, OC3. His claw is a flamer, it seems. 5 -2, 1 damage. His hammer is anti-vehicle 4+ with devastating wounds, so mortal wounds 4+. He has 6 attacks, weapon skill 2, 9. Oh, 3 damage, devastating wounds. Well, he's good at fighting vehicles. That's his jam, right? Even the sweep is anti-vehicle 4+. That's funny. I'm wondering what vehicles you would sweep against at all. Like, what's the lightest vehicle? Like we have to see the Gene Stealer cults, like ATV, maybe. Maybe that's the lightest. No, that's mounted, for sure. They'll be mounted. I don't know if that'll be a vehicle. Okay, his abilities are Deep Strike, Deadly Demise, Unholy Mechanisms, Aura. While a friendly demon vehicle unit is within 6 inches of this model, add 1 to the strength characteristic of weapons equipped by that model's unit. Yeah, so already, if you're into the demon engines, that's a pretty potent ability, depending on where those weapons are already sitting strength-wise. Yeah, any vehicle units, so even your multi-meltas are going up to... Because I think they're normally 9, going to 10. We'll have to see. I'm sure there's a multi-melta that we can reference. Okay, Agonized Machine Spirit. To the end of your movement phase, select 1 enemy vehicle within 18 inches and visible to this model. Until the start of your next movement phase, half the move characteristic. Half the move characteristic! Wow! That's subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic. That's pretty good. Yeah, so I'm thinking like Dreadnoughts, half the move characteristic and -1 attack. Yeah, he's pretty scary versus vehicles, that's for sure. He doesn't lead anything or have any protection, so he's free game for shooting though. There's quite a few units, like Demon Princes seem to be sitting in that spot as well, where you're like, well, I don't really know how you're supposed to protect them other than, putting them in cover and trying to pass those saves. Oh, hell yeah, Icarus, you're right. Vastor with Chaos Knights would be quite terrifying. That could actually be a very cool thematic list, now that you think about it. You want to convert them heavily, though. Really make them like Demon Engine Knights. But I digress. Okay, so we're done with the named characters. Heretic Astartes Demon Princes. T10 to upsave. Yep, no lone operative or ability to lead. 10 wounds. Infernal Cannon. I like that I like the new model has an Infernal Cannon. That's cooler than the old Warp Bolter on a model they weren't even selling. Hell-forged weapons are all homogenized, and they're fairly tasteful, I'd say. Strength 8 is a bit low, but I mean it's good for fighting the elite infantry at least. Demon Prince of Khorne gets +2 strength. Okay, so he can fight vehicles a fair bit. Zinch model has 3 to the attacks characteristic of the Infernal Cannon, 6 shots. Nurgle does +1 toughness to T11, which is good versus strength 10 weapons. None come to mind, but I'm sure it's fairly quite a few out there. Demon Prince of Slaanesh, if this model is... Oh yeah, +2 move, right, obviously, okay. Dark Blessing Aura. While a friendly Heretic Astartes infantry unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a range attack is allocated to a model in that unit, they gain the benefits of cover. I remember seeing the Demon Prince of Deathguard, Demon Prince, being leaked during that tournament, and I thought that had a spicier ability. I was wondering if they were all going to get... I thought it was like stealth or something, -1 to hit. Or maybe that's the Demon Prince. I mean, to have cover freely it means you can just go forward and not have to position in accordance to terrain. It's just not the most joy-sparking ability. For me, anyways. Each time a small shoots or fights, while resolving those attacks, you can reroll 1 hit roll, and you can reroll 1 wound roll. Okay. So he's more reliable for being an ascended demon. Reroll 1 hit, 1 wound. Not bad. I guess you gotta keep in mind dark packs, right? When I look at these profiles. Always keep room for exploding hit rolls of 6 or auto wounding. Oh, and we have those enhancements, right? Talisman of Burning Blood plus another attack and strength or D3. Yeah, that could be pretty scary, actually. Okay, let's go check the Demon Prince with Wings. We have different abilities here. A little bit less toughness, it seems, right? Yeah, less toughness, but more movement, which makes sense. I like the abilities being different. It gives validity to the non-flying or slower versions, which were generally the de facto superior option before. Each time small ends a charge move, select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of it, and roll a d6 for each of this model's remaining wounds. Oh, okay. For each 4+, to a maximum, you get 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6. Okay. And Flying Horus, both abilities are different. Each time this model ends a normal or advanced move, select the enemy unit moved over must take a battle shock test. Are the attack profiles the same? Yeah, they are. Okay. That is a good point, the mate. T9 to T10 is a big difference. That is a break point. I'm not sure if these abilities are... How do they stack? Mortal wounds. You have the potential for mortal wounds on the charge. Only when you charge. Yeah, only when you charge. Versus an aura for many units for cover. I'm not overly hyped on the Chaos Space Marine Demon Prince. I mean, I have no stake in them. I don't really feel them with my word bearers, but this is interesting. Chaos Lord. Okay, abilities are once for battle. Okay, so he has the Rites of Battle from the Space Marines. Makes sense. And chance for glory once per battle at the start of the fight phase. This model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, improve the strength, attacks, armor, penetration, and damage characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model by 1. So strength, attacks, armor... Oh. Why didn't they write attacks, strength, AP, and damage in the order that it would be? Whatever. Yeah, that's pretty potent. It's kind of like an inversion of the... Not an inversion, but it's echoing the our finest hour or finest hour ability that the normal captain has. Yeah, but 1 extra attack. That's good. More strength, more AP, more damage, more of everything. It's awesome. And then we have Chaos Lord and Terminator Armor. So one thing, since we're already skipping it, I might as well address it now. I was quite perturbed, to say the least, that even in the indexes for 10th edition, there's no rules provided for a Chaos Lord and Jump Pack, which I think is super rude. Super rude to those Night Lord players out there. It was a criticism I had with the 9th edition Codex overall. But even in the indexes, it's disappointing, man. House rules, I say. House rules. Okay, Chaos Lord and Terminator has the Lord of Chaos ability. No surprises there, and each time an attack is allocated to this model, half the damage. Okay, so I think this is exactly like the Loyalist side, right? Captain in Terminator Armor has... Oh no, he does not. He rolls charges. I'm thinking of the Captain in Gravis, right? Yeah, half damage. Very interesting. Okay. Doesn't have to be a direct analog. I'm fine with that. Combi weapon is still devastating. It's such a weird combi weapon ruling they've done for this edition. I'm not the only one, right? I'm not the only one who thinks so. I can't be. Okay. Yeah, he leads the Terminator squad, of course. Sorcerer. Okay. So he's a leader. Witchfire is Infernal Gaze. Yeah, Witchfire is Infernal Gaze, and it is superchargeable. What's the difference? We have higher strength, higher AP, and devastating wounds added on. Interesting. Okay. Seems alright. Force weapon seems the same as a Loyalist for the most part, I think. While this model's leading a unit, each time an attack targets that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Not bad, right? Not bad. Dense cover is no longer something you can just get with ease from terrain, so that is a nice defensive layer. Right, you have a Demon Prince nearby, and now you're -1 to hit and benefits of cover, walking through the board with a bit of impunity. Definitely from the... Yeah, -1 to hit on those single damage high quality attacks is quite devastating, especially for the BS4 armies out there. Gift of Chaos, Psychic Power. Each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, after resolving its attacks, select one enemy unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks that had the Psychic ability, which applies to his Infernal Gaze or his Force Weapon. That unit must take a leadership test. If the test is failed, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, nice. Yeah, more mortal wound potential is never a bad thing. And there may be tools in there to take advantage of modifying leadership as well. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And he can lead Chosen or Legionaries. Yeah, something I noticed, and I didn't fine-tooth comb the index when I was reformatting him, but I didn't spot any units that can join Havocs, which I thought was weird. I don't know, are there any that I missed? I suppose we'll come to them regardless. But it's definitely stuck out to me. Okay, Sorcerer and Terminator armor has Infernal Gaze as well. And 2 psychic abilities. Warp Time allows him to reroll advance and charge rolls made for that unit. Now I'm curious, is that the same as our Librarian and Terminator armor? Nope. And Death Hex. At the start of your shooting phase, one psychic with its ability can use it. If it does, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of and visible to the Psyker and roll 1d6. On a 1, that Psyker's unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. And, oh, so on a 1, his unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Because it's a high value power. And on a 2+, until the start of your next movement phase, each time an attack targets that enemy unit, improve the armor penetration of... Okay, that's very good. Oh, that's very good. So between the Chaos Lord and Terminator armor, who do you want to lead your Terminators, right? Free Stratagem, yeah, that's good too. And then he has a selfish ability for that second one. You have to evaluate all the stratagems and take a look at what you want your... If your Terminators... I guess the answer is, if you like your Terminators to be a more flexible, reactive unit, the Chaos Lord is what you want. But if you're into the wombo combo, deep strike, and shoot stuff dead, the Chaos Lord and Terminator armor with that improved AP on all of your shots, combined with Dark Pacts, combined with, I don't know, depending on their mark, and then depending on his enhancements, it could get pretty crazy. Oh, and he has a War Gear ability, Chaos Familiar. Once per battle, when an attack is allocated to the bearer, you can change the... Okay, just a free turn the damage to 0, and it's not the first time. It's... You wait for that Melta rolling 8 damage is what you wait for. Okay, Master of Possession, right. I glanced at him when I was reformatting the index, and I thought he was pretty good. Rite of Possession as a Witchfire is an anti-psyker precision Witchfire. Makes him a real fiendish character, which I like. Strength 4, -3, 2 damage, and it's 2 attacks with precision, right? It's pretty good. And it's anti-psyker, so he's always wounding psychers on 2s. And not all psychers have invulnerable saves, so that AP3 should carry in a lot of cases. Rite of Possession, the focused version, is hazardous, and what am I missing? Oh, it's just more potent. 6 -3, 3 damage. Yeah, not bad. Scary. It's a Psychic Sniper. And his Staff of Possession is also anti-psyker. Abilities, he has Leader, Dark Pacts, of course, and Demonkin is a psychic ability. While this model's leading unit, add 1 to advance and charge rolls made for that unit, and models in the unit have a feel no pain of 5+. Okay, what can he lead? Possessed? Yes, perfect. That's how I like him to be. Chosen as well, and Legionaries. Give them a 6-up, feel no pain. We'll have to see the Possessed, but, you know, high toughness, 3 wound, Possessed Space Marines having a feel no pain is pretty nice. And once per phase, the Sacrificial Dagger this is, when this model is selected to shoot or fight, it can use this ability. If it does, this model's unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and until the end of the phase, each time this model makes a psychic attack, add 1 to the hit and wound roll. So you'll have +1 to hit, hitting on 2s, +1 to wound, probably, if it's an infantry-based character, probably wounding on 2s, right, with that focused Witchfire. And there's still room for the Dark Pact to pop off, right? I think he's pretty good. And he kept his invulnerable save, which is nice. Pretty nice. Okay, Dark Apostle. The Preacher. Stat line, I'm not seeing anything standoutish. I think he had 4 wounds before. Accursed Crozius. It all seems fine, war gear wise. So, Dark Packs. Okay, his abilities. He has quite a few. Dark Zealotry. While this unit, oh yeah, because he's not a model, he's got his acolytes with him. While this unit is leading a unit and contains a Dark Apostle model, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the wound roll. Okay, so Dark Zealotry just gives you a flat +1 to wound in a melee. And once per battle, at the start of any fight phase, you can select 1 friendly Heretic Astartes unit that is battle shocked and within 9 inches. Okay, so he does what chaplains do with Demagogue. He can just turn off battle shock once per battle. Very strong, and for that reason, it's once per battle. And Malign Sacrifice. At the start of the fight phase, if this unit contains 1 or more Dark Disciple models, you can select 1 of those models and 1 enemy unit within engagement range of this unit, then roll it 1d6. On a 2 to 5, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 6, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds, and that Dark Disciple model is destroyed. Okay, so he kills 1 of his own men. Classic Saturday morning cartoon villain. Kill 1 of his loyal disciples to do some mortal wounds to the enemy. And it's at the start of the fight phase, so if you could potentially save yourself if something only has, I mean, it happens, right? Something dangerous charges you, a character with 1 or 2 wounds remaining. Yeah, you could potentially save yourself from being slaughtered. That's pretty cool. And Warpsmith. Wait, what does he lead? Okay, he leads Accursed Cultist, Chosen. Oh, Accursed Cultist with +1 to wound could be very interesting. We'll have to see. Warpsmith. Melta Tendril, okay, that's where his Melta Gun is. His Plasma Pistol. Warp Hammer with Devastating Wounds. Strength 8 -2/2. I expected this to be a bit stronger than a normal Thunderhammer, is it not? It's a bit awkward, if you ask me. Okay, while this model is within 3 inches of 1 or more friendly Heretic Astartes vehicle units, he gets Lone Operative. Okay, so he's following the template pretty clearly of the Warpsmith. In the command phase, he can heal D3 lost wounds to a vehicle and give it +1 to hit until your next command phase. And Enraged Machine Spirit. At the end of your movement phase, select 1 enemy vehicle unit within 12 inches of this model. That unit must take a battle shock test. That is pretty cool and unique. How does this compare with the normal Tech Marines? Oh, they have Vengeance of the Omnissiah. Yeah, that's less fun. Warpsmith has a more fun ability, for sure. For sure. He's gonna bully the machine spirits of the enemy's vehicles and make them feel bad so they don't accept stratagems or hold objectives. That's funny. And Lord Discordant. This, yeah, so no lone operative. So he's in the Demon Prince camp. You're gonna have to be very careful with how he's used. Not really a scalpel that can be used with impunity anymore. Or I mean, this is all theoretical. I could be incorrect. Bale Flamer ignores cover. D6 plus 3 is good. Good to see that. Hellstalker autocannon, 3 shots. Magma Cutter. So the choice between the Magma Cutter or Technovirus Injector, which is anti-vehicle 2+, 2 damage, -3. Okay. Impaler Chainglaive has Lance, so when he charges, it's +1 to wound, I believe. That's what Lance does. And Bladed Limbs gives him 4 extra attacks at a very similar profile. But those wouldn't be having +1 to wound. Alright, so abilities. Corrupt Machine Spirits. Once per turn at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle unit within 12 inches of and visible to one or more models from your army with this ability. That unit must take a leadership test. If the test is passed, until the end of the phase, until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. If the test is failed, that unit is not eligible to shoot this phase. That is crazy. Once per turn at the start of your opponent's shooting phase, right? 12 inches invisible, so he's got to be out there. And he might die after that because it's hard to protect him. But you can't shoot if you fail that test. Man. I'm just imagining that on like a night or something. That would work, right? That's nuts. That's crazy to me. Like, sorry, can't shoot. Spirit Thief. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle unit within 12 inches of this model until the end of the phase. Each time a friendly Heretic Astartes model makes an attack that targets that unit, reroll a wound roll of 1. I mean, it's good to get a reroll wound roll of 1. I just think of the Space Marine land speeders, right? It's like whatever you shoot at is just re-rolling wounds. That's how that works, right? We go to close support, speeders, and I think it was a Thunderstrike. Each of smallest shots, select one enemy enemy monster or vehicle. Okay, so it's only monsters and vehicles, similar. Until the end of the phase, each time a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit makes a ranged attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So this is +1 to wound. This is re-roll wound roll of 1. I guess it's just a bonus. A little extra something. I think he's gotta be cheaper now. Because he's not, you can't protect him as well. He's more vulnerable and he feels, I don't know if he's actually less potent. It's gonna be hard to see how the dark packs kind of offset all that kind of stuff. And Master of Executions. Okay. Devastating wounds with precision. So he is a champion type unit. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack that targets a unit that is below its starting strength, you can reroll the hit roll. If below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll as well. Okay, so there's another bully unit here. You want to shoot something and then charge in with this guy's unit. And each time he destroys a enemy character model, you gain 1 CP, which is, I like that. It's a nice flavorful rule. I wonder if you could take advantage of your order of operations with him and his unit. So what would that be? Chosen or Legionaries, right? Okay. And I wonder if you could charge another unit that is, led by another character by the enemy. Have your unit fight first, reduce the unit to less than half strength, and then leverage the wound reroll with your precision and devastating wounds to take out that character. I wonder if the order of operations could be kind of manipulated in that way. Or would it all count as taking place at the same time? It's interesting. Exalted Champion. What does... He's an exalted weapon. Okay. His abilities are, while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit makes an attack, add one to hit. Okay. That's not bad at all. The Space Marines fighting in melee... Actually, it's not even fighting. That's just all attacks. +1 to hit. Anytime this model's unit makes a Dark Pact, until the end of the phase, add D3 to the strength characteristic of weapons equipped by this model. So he could be up to strength 8, which is pretty cool for fighting other Space Marines. And he can Chosen and Legionaries. Yeah, nothing's able to lead Havocs. Is that not their jam? Alright, so we're moving on to the veteran units. We got Chaos Terminators. Despoilers is their ability. Each time this unit makes a Dark Pact, until the end of the phase, you can... Oh, re-roll the hit roll. Very good. Very good for triggering those Dark Pact crits. Because now you can fish for them quite reliably, but your weapon skill is 3+. You don't have that benefit that Space Marine Terminators have, unfortunately. Well, for them it's playing to Oaths of Moment, so they couldn't just copy paste it. But it's nice. It feels good for the Terminators to hit on 2s thematically as like the cream of the crop veterans in Terminator armor, right? With Oaths of Moment. Allowing them to hit on 2s. It's not a simple copy and paste kind of thing you can do there. But it would be nice if they could have some means to have a similar performance. I suppose you could spend 1 CP on... What was it? Dark Zealotry? No, Profane Zeal. But then they have to be undivided. And I don't know if that's best. Could be. Okay, so yeah, 1 to 5 and then up to 9 more, or up to a total of 9. Any standout weapons here? The usual suspects. Nothing different that we've seen on from the Chaos Lords and. No, all of them guys. Chosen. Their ability is shoot and declare a charge in which a turn it advanced or fell back. Wow. They really want you to buy those Chosen, don't they? I mean, nothing's stopping you from elevating your Legionary squad to, oh, these guys are now Chosen. I have chosen them to be Chosen. And their Chaos Icon allows them to re-roll their leadership in Dark Pacts, right? We've seen that on preview. Yeah, that seems incredibly good. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be paying for that in their points. That's such a good ability. Oh, and they're 3 wounds. Yeah. Quite good. Because, yeah, normal Space Marines are 2... Then you have 5 attacks. Oh, that's paired. So your single accursed weapon guy is 4 attacks, 5, yeah. Yeah, advance and charge will be huge. Won't have to mark them to Slaanesh and use its stratagem, that's for sure. Okay, Noise Marine. Righteous Cacophony. Okay. It's like the Screamer Killer. If you're hit by its attacks, you take a Battle Shock test. Good utility. You got the Doom Siren, a Sonic Blaster, Assault 501, and Blastmaster. The Blastmaster, strength 9, AP2, 3 damage, 3 attacks with heavy. Pretty good. And that varied frequency still has AP at strength 6. Not bad. It's the consistent value that's so attractive with these weapons. The consistent attacks, I mean. Okay. Legionaries. We've seen their ability, yep. Built to shift objectives in melee. Unfortunately, someone commented this on the video that I made for the faction focus for these guys. Yeah, it is a bummer that the shooty preferential legions like the Iron Warriors can't really leverage veterans of the Long War in shooting, which would be their preferred method of combat. Really felt like it should have been an either or, right? Once in your turn, activate this in your shooting or fight phase. I think that would have felt pretty tasteful, or something varied. If it's too strong to use in shooting, then maybe. Well, I'm pretty sure Blight Lords do this in shooting, so it's not outside the realm of possibility. Yeah, they're fine. Pretty sure, yeah, normal Primaris Marines are 3 attacks, 4 with a chainsword, so they are in line, which is good. 2 wounds, hooray! this model. Classic. It's charming, that's what we call it. It's a charming model. Okay, T5, 3 wounds. Actually, were the chosen T5? No, T4. Okay. So we're looking at outmaneuvers their ability. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is wholly within 6 inches of 1 or more battlefield edge, and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove it from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves. That's definitely different than the turbo boost. I did not expect, I just assumed they'd roll that over, right? Bikers are bikers. I guess the Chaos Bikes are more maneuverable. So the end of the opponent's turn, you can pull it off the board and pull it out of strategic reserves on your turn. I wonder if... I don't know if I'm off base, but you guys can tell me what you think. I'm thinking that it just might be better on a unit that moves 12 with rules available to your army to advance and charge. In the case of Chaos, we did see that stratagem from Slaanesh. Would it not just be more advantageous, more preferable, more joy-sparking to have Turbo Boost, to just flat advance plus 6 inches, and now you can charge? That you can reach out and tag with much more reliability, right? It's more scary from a player point of view as a mechanic, I think. And then because of that, I feel like it's probably better for Chaos to have that than maybe the Loyalists bikers should have been more maneuverable and flexible. But the Chaos, the Heretic bikers are more aggressive and direct, right? Okay, I see what you guys are saying. Oh, I appreciate that, Brandon. You take care, man. You take care. Yeah, Flight of Icarus. If you're all Zinch, and you have buffs for shooting, that is, outmaneuvering is quite good, certainly. And you know what? I can definitely appreciate the thematic purity of playing all Zinch Chaos Space Marines. That's a beautiful thing. And still a squad size of 6. Okay. I think that's all there is to see here. Raptors, what do they do? You got your standard war gear selection. Ability is fearsome. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this unit, Each time that unit takes a battle shock or leadership test, subtract 1 from the results. So they have their -1 leadership aura. And terrifying assault at the start of the fight phase. Each enemy unit within engagement range of 1 or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test. That's very good. So if they charge you, they can battle shock themselves, and now they can't use their stratagem. That's awesome. Right? Though sometimes stratagems state at the start of the fight phase, and I believe conflicts like that defer to whoever's the controlling player. The player whose turn it is would get to choose the order of those. But then if you then become battle shocked immediately, does that nullify the stratagem? I don't think it would. Yeah, either way, that is valuable. If you charge them, you could battle shock them, and now they're gonna have a hard time holding their objective, right? Can't use their reactive stratagem. Can't use counter-offensive potentially. It's good. It's a luxury to just proc a battle shock like that. I suspect it will be very satisfying when it comes up. Havocs, the unleaderable unit. T5, 2 wounds. Stabilization Talons. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with a ranged weapon, you can ignore any or all modifiers to hit roll and ballistic skill. Okay. So you're always hitting on 3s. Not bad. How are the chain cannon? How's that looking? 5, 0, 1, 8 attacks still. Last cannons. The missile launcher is strength 9 minus 2d6. The flamer. The sergeant's flamer, yeah. I forgot he has the... Such an awkward weapon for the sergeant. Oh, Warpsmith's lead Havocs. Thank you, Felix. Thank you for letting me know. Oh my goodness. I appreciate that immensely. Havocs. There it is. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. Does he do anything for them? Does he... Not quite. Not quite. But you know what? He can be protected by them, which is cool. And he looks awesome. Damn, that's such a cool model. It's an awesome model with an awful base. That stupid oval base. Okay. Yeah, but for real though, I appreciate that that point, pointing that out to me rather. Okay, let's head over back to the Havocs. Yeah, I think that was all there was to see, right? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Okay, so now we're at the armory. Chaos Predator Annihilator. Okay, this is, I'm almost positive, from my cursory overview, the same abilities as our Loyalist counterparts, right? Destructor, improve AP against infantry. Where is it? Annihilator. Yeah, reroll damage rolls of 1. Yeah. Looks to be the same. You got your Predator Twin Last Cannon, 14 minus 3. 14 minus 3. Okay, yeah. I'm almost certain it's the same. But the key difference is this is Dark Pactable. Which is very alluring from a combat point of view. Sustained hits on Predator Annihilators. It's not a lot of shots, but when it pops off, it'll be very satisfying in a way the Loyalists can't really leverage. At least not as easily. Okay, the Destructor. Yep, same ability, plus 1 AP when attacking infantry. Want to attack on those bolters. Sustained hit. Oh, they already have sustained hits. So you don't get too much value from choosing that Dark Pact. That's okay. That's what the other one's for, I guess. Go with the lethal hits. Vindicator, Siege Shield. Yep, you can shoot at units in engagement range with your blast weapon because your shield. Very cool. Seems very copy-paste right now. Unless I'm missing something, you guys point out if I'm missing something. Got Soul Shatter Last Cannons. Now I assume these are equal to the Godhammer Last Cannons. Okay, that's good. Connor M, thank you for the 199. Much appreciated, dude. Hellbrute next to Havoc's with Warpsmith equals happiness. I am inclined to agree. I need to. We're close to the Hellbrute sheet, but yeah, the Hellbrute. They're doing something interesting with Hellbrutes this edition, which is, oh, I'm in favor of that. Interesting. I just noticed now. It's interesting that the Soul Shatter Last Cannon and the Godhammer. That's what it's called, right? Godhammer. Yeah, Godhammer Last Cannon is weaker than the Predators. I don't think it's bad necessarily. It's just it caught my eye. Alright, the Predator Annihilator is, yeah, strength 14. Twin link, but it's only one shot. Only one shot. Okay, and now we're at the demonic units. Possessed. Okay. Unholy Bloodshed. Each time this unit makes a Dark Pact until the end of the phase. Devastating. Oh, you gain devastating wounds. So you have 4 attacks per possessed, and you're a group of 5. Yeah. With devastating wounds. Interesting. And then the Master of Possession will give you a 6-up Feel No Pain. Very interesting. See, so I had a converted Space Marine captain, not a captain, a converted Chaos Lord that was made out of a possessed Galvorback because of the Faith and Fury supplement from 8th edition. And I thought it was so cool. And now this converted character, it's like the thing I bemoan most about Chaos Space Marines right now, for my army in particular. It's like this. The rules were such to encourage something so cool. And now it's like, you can't even use it. The Chaos Lord, even if I play him as a Chaos Lord on foot, I can't put him with Possessed, right? I'm pretty sure the Chaos Lord on foot was only Chosen and Legionaries. Yeah, so it's like, oh man. It's Chaos is, it feels often, they're often awkward. Movement 9 is really good though. T6 is up. They're up from T5. Also awesome. 3-up save, 3 wounds. They already have a 5-up invulnerable. So yeah, putting them with the Master of Possession for 6-up Feel No Pain isn't nothing. Which is nice. Warp Talons. Warp Talons have Twin Linked. 4 attacks each. Yeah, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling, all wounds. Yeah, with a Dark Pact. Pretty scary, because they're also a squad of 5, so you're a high volume unit here. Movement 12, T4, 3. Warp Flames. Each time an enemy unit with an engagement range of this unit is selected to fall back, if that enemy unit is not battle shocked, your opponent must take a desperate escape test for each model in that unit before any are removed. If that enemy unit is battle shocked, then until the end of the phase, each time a desperate escape test is taken for a model model in that unit, subtract 1. Okay, so you're always forcing Desperate Escape. Not restricting them from falling back, but always forcing them to potentially lose models. Let's take a look at Desperate Escape while we're here. Movement phase, surely. Move units, remain stationary, fall back. Desperate Escape tests. Unlike when making other types of move, models can move over enemy models when making a fall back move, as if those enemy models were not there. But you must take a Desperate Escape test for each model that will do so, excluding models that are Titanic or can fly. Before any models in that unit are removed. Oh yeah, sorry, you do the test before any models are moved. In addition, if a unit is battle shocked when it is selected to fall back, you must take a Desperate Escape test for every model in that unit before any are moved. Each time you take a Desperate Escape test, roll a d6 for each model. So you have to roll for your models individually if they're if you got a sergeant with war gear or, specialists or whatever. But for each roll of 1 and 2, the unit falling back is destroyed. So it's not even mortal wounds. It's just destroyed. The same model can only ever trigger 1 Desperate Escape test per phase. Yeah, so Warp Talons can reach out, touch a unit, and if they want to fall back, you're going to force them to lose some models, odds are, right? And because it's not mortal wounds, just straight up destroying models, even if it's a small unit of Custodian Guard, that 1 in 3 chance hurts almost just as well, right? Like you have higher quality models, so you have fewer in a unit, but it hurts more to lose those one. Hurts more to lose that single one. Interesting. Warp Talons are interesting. They have their 5 up invuln. Obliterators. Okay, Flesh Metal Guns. Yeah, these were previewed on Warhammer Community. T7, I like. 5 wounds, I like. 2 up save is good. 4 movement is not so good, but these guys are big chungus. Their ability was, this is new. Once per battle, when this unit makes a Dark Pact, it can use this ability. If it does until the end of the phase, ranged weapons models this unit are equipped with have the indirect fire ability. To shoot without needing line of sight is ordinarily quite a potent exception, right? Hence the trials and tribulations of indirect over 9th, right? But you have a 24-inch range. So yeah, you could, if you're on the opposite side of an obscuring feature, you drop down, you could shoot something. But then that target would be -1. You'd have -1 to your hit roll, and I think they would have +1 to their save. And none of these weapons, none of the profiles here ignore cover or penalties to hit or auto hit or anything like that. So I'm not feeling you. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I'm not feeling any synergy here between Warp Ripped Firepower, which is a cool sounding ability, right? You can imagine the projectiles are the demonic Warp Hail and Ruinous Salvo phasing through the warp to their target. It's kind of neat. But you're taking a pretty big performance hit. You're hit on 4s, and you'll drop your AP. And if they're in cover, all the worse. I don't know. It's once per battle, this unit, right? I mean, Obliterators can go in units of 1, so that's something. No, 2. Oh my god, 2 to 4 because that's how they're sold. Of course. Why should we think anything else? Okay, that's annoying. I'm not... It feels like ever since 8th edition, they've just been giving obliterators the runaround. I don't know. Crushing Fist at Strength 9 is pretty cool. 4 attacks at Weapon Skill 3. Pretty cool. I like that. Okay, let's move on to Chaos Spawn. Hideous Mutations, D6 plus 2. Hitting on 4s. It's pretty swift still. 5 Feel No Pain built in. And Regeneration at the start of each player's command phase. One model in this unit regains up to D3 lost wounds. And they're also in units of 2. How about that, eh? Each player's command phase. I like that. I like that a lot. Very cool. Ugly model. As ugly as sin, but cool rule. Convert your own chaos spawn. Don't use that model. God. Okay, the Hellbrute. Yeah, there's something to talk about Hellbrutes. Movement 6, so they are still slower than they used to be. T9, 2-up save is... That's a win for them. OC3, wounds 8. Hellbrute Plasma Cannon, 8 minus 3/3. D3 shot still, blast hazardous. Twin-linked Las Cannon is... Oh, the heavy one. The twin-linked Las Cannon's the heavy one. Not overly... Okay, before we really look into the Hellbrute and what GW is doing with it, my OCD is killing me now. I want to see the Ballistus and how this compares. Let's go to Walker's Ballistus. So the Ballistus has the Ballistus Last Cannon. Oh, his Last Cannon is 2 shots. Interesting. That seems lame. How is it twin linked? I thought twin linked was like left and right, side by side. Well, his last cannon isn't. I don't know. I feel like it's. I feel like they just wanted to make their new dread extra special. Melee weapons. Fists are sitting at a nice strength 12, which is good, so they can fight. You don't want to fight a Land Raider with, giving it a 4-up save and wounding it on 4s, but you can fight everything else, wounding on 3s, which isn't bad. Hellbrute Hammer, worse weapon skill, but same number of attacks, which is good as a fit. That's awesome. Minus 3, d6. The Hammer looks the stupidest. Well, you know what? I kind of like it a little bit. But it definitely seems to have a more valid stat line at the very least. Seems to be an argument for it now. It doesn't feel like an objectively poor choice compared to the Fist. Right, so the ability for Hellbrute's Dark Ascension Aura. While a friendly Heretic Astartes unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit makes a Dark Pact, until the end of the phase, its weapons gain both abilities conferred by that pact instead of only one. Very good. And speaking to the super chat said by Connor, yes, Havoc's gaining Dark Pacting and gaining lethal hits and sustained hits is quite spicy. And that's an aura, so you can kind of castle up and just go to town, right? Yeah, Predators, Vindicators, whatever you want. I think it's really gonna make the Hellbrute if you deploy in that way, people are gonna want to shoot your Hellbrute first. It's a kind of aura that will impact how it'll impact your enemy's target priority, which is a low-key kind of manipulation, right? It's not as obvious as you can't shoot this until you shoot something else, but it is incentivizing certain choices over others, right? Because before, you'd only have auras like this, usually on characters which were always untargetable in the middle of the Death Star, right? I think a few Hellbrutes in a list can really serve as a distraction Carnifex. It's quite interesting. Yes, and if you have 2 Hellbrute Fists, the Hellbrute Fists ability gives you twin linked. What's very interesting about Hellbrutes this edition, that's the point I made earlier, and what I mean by that is each codex seems to be, each Space Marine index, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, generic Chaos Space Marines, and Thousand Suns. Did I say that? Yeah, World Eaters, Thousand Suns, Death Guard, the special three. All their Hellbrutes do different things, interacting with the army rule, which I think is a neat idea. It's kind of a design philosophy I think I shared on this channel even. This idea that even cultists should operate in that function, serving and providing different utility to their Legion masters, right? Very cool. I like seeing that. I'm not a huge fan of the special snowflaking of rules, but you know, you're squeezing more juice out of that orange, so might as well. Okay, Venom Crawler, T9, 9 wounds, 3 up save. Excruciator Cannon is 6 attacks, and I assume you have 2? That's a win. Awesome. 2 Excruciator Cannons. I feel like my Venom Crawler was not making 12 shots last time I used it, so that's pretty awesome. 6 minus 1, 2 damage, and Soul Flare Tendrils are 6 attacks again, weapon skill 3, strength 6. Yeah, okay, so same profile. That's a convenient unit to use. You just remember just rolling the same again. Deadly Demise is at the end of any phase. Excuse me. Soul Eater. At the end of any phase, if one or more attacks made by this model that phase destroyed one or more enemy units until the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of this model's weapons. Wow. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. This unit used to be a psychic utility, and because psychic as a phase is kind of totally repositioned and transformed, it no longer can operate in that manner, so you got a very interesting utility piece here. If you destroy a unit with it, +1 attack, and at the end of any phase, if 1 or more attacks made by this model, I don't know what you guys think about this, but does that stack based on the way it's written? Sometimes it's hard to parse out GW's intention with these rules, but I think maybe at the end of any phase, if you destroy a model. Oh, anyways, Connor M for the 199. Thank you, Connor. Says, can you make Hellbrute T10 and unshootable with Nurgle? Possibly. You might be onto something there. Let's take a look-see. So let's open that up here. Hellbrute. So Hellbrute's T9 normally. If you make it Nurgle, what are we looking at here? We got Nurgle is not increasing toughness, right? It is increasing your shooting critical hit thresholds. The stratagem for Nurgle does make it untargetable. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army, which the Hellbrute is. Until the end of the phase, your unit has the stealth ability. So it's -1 to hit, and in addition, if it is Nurgle, it is untargetable. So, yes, interesting interaction of rules you've pointed out here, Connor. You could make your Hellbrute Death Star untargetable. And you can laugh at them while you leverage all of this Dark Pact double dipping. Double dipping all your Dark Pacts for as many units as you can squeeze around the Hellbrute. It's only 1 CP. It's not egregious. Okay. We were at the Venom Crawler, right? Yeah, I think we just wrapped up the Venom Crawler. Forge Fiend. This is one I am, on my cursory initial glance, very pleased with, because I am somewhat invested in the Forge Fiends. I think they are super cool demon engines. These kind of Cerberus-esque demonic artillery beasts is very cool. So they're T10, 3 up save, 12 wounds with an invulnerable save. Very nice. Ballistic skill 3 plus. Awesome. Ectoplasma blast. Excuse me. One sec, guys. Need to get some water. That's better. Okay. The ectoplasma cannon is blast D3, but you have 3 of them, right? So 3D3, 3D, 3D, 3D is pretty good, right? You're gonna get a decent average at 36 inches with your dark pacts, right? Lest we forget, strength 10, AP3, 3 damage isn't terrible. Isn't terrible, and I think it might be. Finally better. The plasma cannons that are literally like double, maybe triple the size, I can't recall offhand, are finally better than the Hellbrute's plasma cannon. Kills me. Yeah. So I'm pretty pleased about seeing this upgrade, this glow up for the ectoplasma cannons. And ability-wise, Demonic Ordnance. Each time this model is selected to shoot, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, its ranged weapons have devastating wounds and hazardous. So, yeah, you can get some mortal wound action. 3 mortal wounds per ectoplasma cannon. I don't know, maybe mark it undivided and reroll all your hits and wounds. It's interesting. It's interesting. Actually, how are those Hades autocannons? 6 attacks, you'll have 2 of those. So you have 12 shots, always, with 8 minus... The 2 damage isn't bad either for that devastating wound proc. Because you're gonna have a consistent 12 shots. It's not bad. Well, it's definitely better. I think we can all agree on that. Okay, Mauler Fiend. What are we looking at here? Movement 10 versus the 8. T10 save 3, 12 wounds. Magma Cutters. I think you take Magma Cutters instead of your Tendrils, right? Yeah. So it's an either or. So you get 2 6-inch Meltaguns, which is basically a close-range weapon. Or you can take 6 more attacks in melee at 7 minus 1 1. Well, AP4 D6. It might be. I could see an argument for taking the Magma Cutters. But it's the Mauler Fiend Fists which are really terrifying. 6 attacks, strength 14. Really high strength. AP2. Not the most AP. How does the Hellbrute Fist compare? Hellbrute Fist is also AP2, 3 damage. Okay. So the hammer does have more AP. The Hellbrute Hammer does hit harder at a higher weight class than the Mauler Fiend. Interesting. D6 plus 1 damage. D6 plus 1, yeah, but with better AP. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Siege Crawler ability. You can reroll advance and charge rolls made for this model, and you can ignore any or all modifiers to its move characteristic and advance and charge rolls. This is... I rate this. It may not seem very outwardly, like, sexy, but there's a lot of people want to hit you with -2 to move, advance, and charge rolls with their indirect. I see basilisks. I see space marines that vindicate. No, thunderfire cannons, and I suspect many factions have. Yeah, the barb gaunts, right? They want to slow you down. So to have some units that just, oh, you're not slowing that down. You got to deal with it. And it seems pretty good. Defiler, I think this was previewed on the Warhammer community. Defiler Claws and Scourge are extra attacks. Damn, that's a lot of strength. 5 attacks at strength 16. Well, it is a giant demon engine after all. Scuttling Walker, each time this unit makes a normal or advanced move, it can be moved over friendly monsters and vehicle units as if they were not there. That's an interesting exception. I wonder what kind of utility that is. It's hard for me to imagine theoretically, but I wonder if in play this has like big utility. Like, I don't know. It moves over terrain as well if it's 4 inches or less in height. I don't own any Defilers, but I'd be curious to try it out and really get a sense of the value of this ability. The core, Thomas the tank engine is here. The Lord of Skulls. Yeah, his gun was previewed on Warhammer Community, if I recall correctly. So the Demon Gore Cannon Blast, 14 minus 4, d6 plus 2. Jeez, the sweeps. 15 attack, strength 8 minus 2, 2 damage. Good lord. Is he a Lord of War still? I guess that classification is no longer in the game. 5 attack, strength 16, damage 8. Ugh. Terrifying. Terrifying. Plow through the enemy. In the fight phase, after this model has finished making its attacks, if this model destroyed 1 or more enemy units this phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a battle shock test. So if units are clustered together, or you multi-charge and kill one, you force more battle shock after it finishes attacking in the fight phase. Interesting. Interesting. I guess they figured it was already deadly enough. Oh, yeah, and you have to imagine dark pacts, right? Oh man. Crazy. Oh, and the Helldrake. Bale Flamer. Okay, ignores. Yeah, it's a Flamer, so ignores cover. 2 damage Flamer, though. Helldrake Claws are anti-fly with devastating wounds. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Just rip and tear those flyers out of the sky. And Airborne Predator. Each time this model makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, add 1 to the hit roll. Oh, okay, so it's hitting on 2s. Hitting on 2s. Hades Autocannon. On a target that can fly is also hitting on 2s. The Flamery doesn't care. I don't know. Flyers have always been awkward for me. We'll have to wait and see how people end up feeling about it. How do you guys feel about Flyers so far? I know the edition isn't out yet properly, but I think there's enough data, enough of the rules are displayed to get a sense of how Flyers will function. Is the Helldrake for better or for worse because of it? I don't know. I 100% agree with you, Flight of Icarus. It is very inconsistent which units are shared and which units are exclusive. It's almost as if it's an old enough unit, it gets shared. But if it's too new, nope. Can't share that. The Rhino is no firing points, eh? That stands out to me. There's the... I swear the Loyalist Rhino has firing points. Yeah, firing deck 2. What happened? Why no firing points? What's the deal with that? Does it gain firing points with option? No. I do like the transport capacity of 12. That is good. More functional for play with leaders now. Yeah, that's feels very rules for thee, not for me. I don't like it. Noctilith Crown. What do you do? 6-inch lashing warp energies. TD11. BS4. 8 -1 2. Okay. Malevolent Locust. While a friendly heretic authority's model is wholly within 9 inches of this fortification, that model has a 4-up invulnerable save. Pretty good. Pretty good. You place that near a backfield objective so you can stay within 9 of it. Well, you suddenly have a invulnerable save. It's not nothing. Each time a range attack is allocated... Okay, it's the cover rule. You gain the benefit of cover if the unit being fired upon is not fully visible. Yep, and you can shoot at them, shoot at units, and yeah. Same like the Sporocyst, same like the Hammerfall Bunker. Makes sense. Okay, now we have like goobers. The goobers of the Chaos Space Marines. Our Dark Commune. I really like these models. At some point, I want to add them to the collection. They're so... a lot of flavor. Okay, you have a Cult of Demagogue. And other models. So the Demagogue has 4 wounds. And everyone else has 1 model. Now, whom is whom? Whomst is whomst. You have 1 Cult Demagogue. Okay, so just the leader. Just probably this lady. It's probably the Demagogue. Then you have a Mind Witch. Makes sense. Icon Arc. Holding the icon. 2 Blessed Blades. Okay, you know what? Good job, GW, on the data sheet. On the data card, rather. I figured it out. Okay, so... yeah, they have Commune Blades, Commune Staff, Warp Curse, Close Combat, Auto Pistol, Chaos Icon. Okay, so Warp Curse from the Psyker is a Witchfire with sustained hits 2, so it can really pop off on hit roll of 6. 3 attacks, 18 inches. It's reliable. It's consistent, right? So no D3s anywhere. Always does 2 damage. Okay, abilities Faithful Flock. While this unit is leading a unit and contains a Cult Demagogue model, models in that unit have a 5-up invulnerable save. Wow. So it will give a unit a 5-up invulnerable save. And I assume it can lead all the cultists, right? Yeah, Accursed and Standard. Wow. Okay, there's some play there, for sure. For sure. And Dark Ritual. Once per battle in your command phase, if this unit contains a Cult Demagogue model, it can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, this unit can declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. Wow, advanced and charge for cultists. Once per battle, though. And each time a model in this unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound roll. Okay, so again, also very potent. Advance and charge, +1 to wound, and hit. But it's once per battle. That would... it seems that both of these pair very well with the Accursed Cultists if their abilities are the same as previous. The Cult Staff isn't too crazy. Commune Blades are... yeah, good AP. It's like a power weapon. Not bad. Cultist mob for the Dark Gods. At the end of your command phase, if this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control. It's sticky objectives. So cultists are the Chaos Space Marine source of sticky objectives. They're no longer battle line. Oh, wait, they are battle line. There's not good OC. Fair enough. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. They have a purpose. And Accursed Cultist, so you have 3 wounds on the Torment, 1 wound, all T4. That's pretty good. Hideous Mutations, D6 plus 2, 5, minus 1, 2 damage. Yeah, that could get really gross. At the start of each player's command phase, you can return either... each player's command phase, you can return either 1 destroyed Torment model or up to 3 destroyed Mutant models. And has a built-in Feel No Pain 5+, and they, the commune, could give them a... what was it? 6 up? No, 5 up invulnerable save, right? Yeah. Yeah, not bad. Looking pretty spooky. How big is the Accursed Cultist unit? Yeah, 3 to 6, 5 to 10. And having a unit of mixed models, or sorry, a unit of models with mixed wounds. There we go. Having that really allows you to manipulate and pluck wounds on the models which are least efficient for what's being put into them. You know, when you're dealing with weapons with dealing damage between 1 and 3. Pretty cool. It's a very subtle interaction with the enemy player that's, I think, undervalued. Okay, Traitor Enforcer. I have never seen these datasheets before. So he's the leader for our Renegade Guard, but not official Renegade Guard units. So he's T3, yes, fairly standard guardsman stat line. And then you got an Ogren. T6. I'm not sure, but I don't think we know what normal Ogren's toughness are, but in any case, as tough as a possessed, it's pretty wild. Ogren weapons are strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. The Enforcer's Power Fist, strength 6. Yeah, times 2 from 3. Makes the sense. His abilities are Brutal Example. While this unit is leading a unit and contains a Traitor Enforcer model, that unit can be targeted with the Insane Bravery stratagem for 0 command points, even if another unit from your army has already been targeted with the stratagem this phase. Wow, that's pretty cool. Each time you use this ability, 1 bodyguard model in that unit is destroyed. Mutated bodyguard. While this unit contains a Traitor Ogren model, character models in this unit have the 5 up Feel No Pain ability. And only the Enforcer has the invulnerable save of 5+. Interesting. So I assume he leads Traitor Guardsman squad. Yes, he does. So your Traitor Guardsman could sit on a backline objective with him. And even if someone has a, let's say, a Plague Burst Crawler, to force them to have Battle Shock, even if they haven't fallen below half, you can say, nope, 0 CP, that objective is mine. Very cool. Traitor Guardsman Squad. Their weapons seem fairly regular from what we can gather. I don't think they have anything overly special. Twisted Defense Force. While this unit is within engagement range of an objective marker, each time a ranged attack targets this unit, models in this unit have the benefit of cover. Okay, a defensive benefit while on an objective. Interesting. Hey, Paul Warren. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. We're just about rounding out the Chaos Space Marines Index. Felgor Beastman. What do we have here? T4. 5 save. This is also a fairly new kit from the... Was it Boarding Actions? One of the Boarding Actions boxes, I think. They have a great weapon. It's okay. Not that great. Bestial Raiders. Each time this unit declares a charge, if one or more of the targets of that charge are within range of an objective marker, add 2 to the charge. Oh, it's +2 to charge against an objective. That's cool. Pretty thematic for Beastmen. You know what? Actually, seeing Beastmen in 40k and Chaos is kind of warms my heart. Nice to see some non-blue Beastmen. Armory. Anything in the armory? Ah, nothing. Nothing crazy. Alright, so my plan was today to take a look at the Slaanesh Demons Codex as well. Because that is an army I have a collection of Slaanesh Demons. So I'll pull that up next. These always go on way longer than I expect. The time just goes, man. It's gone. Yeah. If you guys are filling up for it, if there's a demand, we can do more. Or a desire, I should say. There's a desire to see other books and stuff. Other sections of the Chaos Demons or other Marines. We'll play it by ear, is what I'm saying. Okay. Shadow of Chaos, yes. So, control. Your deployment zone is always in your army Shadow of Chaos at the start of any phase if you control at least half the objective markers within no man's land. Until the end of that phase, no man's land is within your army's Shadow of Chaos, and same again for the enemy deployment zone. And Shadows of Chaos affects your demonic, your battle shock tests. You get to add 1, and if you pass the test, you gain D3 lost wounds, or D3 destroyed models back, and enemy units who fail battle shock in the Shadow of Chaos suffer D3 mortal wounds. Very cool. Way better for me than the Warp Storm dice. I thought that was... I don't like it. Detachment rules is Warp Rifts. Like, good lord, look at this artwork. Is this new or is this old? I don't recognize it, but it's that's you know what? This is 40k artwork. This is exactly what you want. Horrific. Warp Rifts allow you to deep strike within 6 inches away from enemies instead of 9 if it's within your Shadows of Chaos. So that's it's an detachment rule that is not adding it's not adding an additional system to the army rule, but it's playing with that army, with the Shadow of Chaos system. Okay, so corrupt real space. That objective marker is said to be corrupted. Okay, sorry. In your command phase, you select one. Oh, this is the one that was previewed. At the start of any command phase, you select one Legionis Daemonica unit from your army that is within range of an objective marker you control. That objective marker is said to be corrupted and remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. In addition, while an objective marker is corrupted and under your control, the area of the battlefield within 6 inches of that objective marker is considered to be within your army's Shadows of Chaos. So this is a very interesting tool. So even if you don't own the objective, let's say you don't own half of the objectives in no man's land. This still allows you to get a foothold of Shadows of Chaos in no man's land, which can potentially provide all sorts of, benefits for battle shock or deep strike. It's all situational, of course. Okay, Warp Surged in the charge phase. One Legionis Daemonica unit from your army that is within your army's Shadows of Chaos is able to declare a charge even if it advanced. 1 CP advance and charge. As a Slaanesh enjoyer, I'm somewhat saddened to see everyone else be able to do what I was able to do exclusively, but Slaanesh will still do it better, so can't feel too bad about it. A Draught of Terror. In the shooting or fight phase, 1 Legionis Daemonica unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase until the end of the phase improve AP by 1. In addition, until the end of the phase, each time such a weapon targets a unit that is battle shocked, you can reroll the wound. Wow. Really punishing you for bullying. Well, it's good. It's mechanics encouraging you to, prey on the weak. It's very fear-inducing, very fluffy. I like it. Denizens of the Warp. Your movement phase. 1 Legionis Daemonica unit from your army that is arriving using the Deep Strike ability. That unit can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 3 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. Units declared a unit targeted by the stratagem is not eligible to declare a charge in the same turn. Okay, so demons have a 1 CP stratagem to just deep strike within 3 inches and not charge. Like Genestealer Cults, like I think Inceptors on Space Marines have this ability. But for demons, it's unrestricted with regards to Shadows of Chaos as well, which is interesting. You would think it would be, but that's good utility. The jump out for me, obviously getting closer and deep striking where you want, even though you can't charge, you're able to position perhaps onto an objective you otherwise would not be able to, because people normally are screening out for 9 inches. But I see this as a very useful defensive tool for rapid ingress. This kind of mechanic. If someone has the means to advance and charge, or just are going to make a desirable charge, right? A pretty likely charge, like let's say a 6-inch charge, 2-inch charge, 5-inch charge, right? As long as you have more than 3 inches, plus a little bit of space for your unit, you can basically set up a wall and say, well, you want to charge in my unit? Well, now I've put something up in front of you. Pretty flexible. That would cost 2 CP for demons, though. But I guess the butt of it is demons might be cheaper to do that with than a unit of, say, Inceptors. The last 2 stratagems are the Realm of Chaos. At the end of your opponent's turn, up to 2 Legionis Daemonica units from your army that are within your army's Shadows of Chaos, or one other unit that's not in your Shadows of Chaos. Remove those units from the battlefield and place them into reserves at the end of the opponent's turn, and they're set up immediately on your next turn. Very cool. Move units around, get units where you need them. It's just flexibility, just straight flexibility for 1 command point. But you need to save 1 command point during your opponent's turn till the end to do this, right? Because you get your CP on the command phase generally, unless you're generating it through other means. So you have to keep that in mind. Yeah, you cannot use a stratagem on units in engagement range with enemy units. That makes sense. And demonic invulnerability in your opponent's shooting phase. After they've selected targets, 1 Legionis Daemonica unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of that enemy unit's attacks. Okay. Until the end of the phase, each time an invulnerable saving throw is made for your unit, you can reroll a saving throw of 1. That'll be... Yeah, well, you know what people are shooting at you, if it's going to force your invuln or not. Most units have bad armor saves anyways. I think Greater Demons and Demon Princes are the exception. And enhancements. I only really care about the Soul Stealer. And I, to be quite honest, was quite happy to see the Soul Stealer here, because it was, in fluff, it was my favorite relic from the Codex. So it's cool that it's cool that it lives on as an enhancement. Each time the bearer destroys an enemy model with a melee attack, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if the bearer is within your army's Shadow of Chaos. On a 4+, the bearer regains a wound. So you can get some pretty beefy regen depending on what you're fighting with. Depending which character you give this to. So let's take a look at the Slaanesh units. That's really what I'm here for. Shalaxi Hellbane looks really good. 14 movement, T10, 20 wounds, 5 of armor save, which is worse than the invulnerable save. So maybe rerolling 1s is quite good. I thought that they might have had a better armor save, but maybe I'm misremembering. Leadership 6, OC 5. So Shalaxi has no war gear options anymore. All the options are kind of built in and working at the same time. You got the invulnerable save from the shield. You got the whip built in as well. Really cool. 12-inch range, 6 attacks. Hitting on 2s, it can be fired after advancing. And Psychic Powers, Pavane of Slaanesh is Witchfire. It can be supercharged to sustained hits 3 and increases the AP by 1. Which is pretty... That doesn't look bad. It's dicey at D6 shots on either profile and D3 damage. But as a bonus, you know, Shalaxi's always been for me a melee dedicated unit anyways. Snapping Claws have devastating wounds and extra attacks, and it's something that I noticed while going through the index when reorganizing it. All Slaanesh claws have devastating wounds, which is wild to me. Didn't foresee that coming. It does remedy a little bit my trepidation around Slaanesh having such low strength, but perhaps having devastating wounds peppered throughout all your units will kind of circumvent and allow that damage to trickle through. Soul Piercer looks tremendous. 6 attacks, hitting onto strength 14 with precision, -3 d6 plus 2. Like, what a terror! 14-inch movement too. Like, just go into a unit and just scalpel. Well, she's kind of holding a scalpel in a way. Built-in Feel No Pain with Deep Strike. Cloak of Constriction. At the start of the fight phase, select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model. So at the start of the fight phase, even when they charge me, until the end of the phase, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic of melee weapons equipped by that unit. Very good versus squads. Well, you know what? Even taking away 1 attack from a big greater demon is impactful, right? That can make or break you when they're doing like 8 damage per swing. And Monarch of the Hunt, each time this model declares a charge that targets a monster, vehicle, or character, you can re-roll the charge roll. And each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a monster, vehicle, or character, you can re-roll the hit, wound, and damage. Crazy. Like, all of a sudden, D6 plus 2 doesn't seem bad at all. I mean, full hits, wounds, and re-rolls? It's nuts. Yeah, and it's not tied to the charge being made either. It's just each time it makes a melee attack. Really good. Really good. The regular keeper, I think the datasheet was previewed. The big takeaways I had at the time, when this was on Warhammer Community, was I was kind of bummed out that the creepy hand, is no longer an option. So I just gotta count my hand as, I don't know, a knife, I suppose. Get some extra attacks that way. 5 up, Feel No Pain with the shield, which is useful each time an attack targets this model. Oh, actually, that's... Okay, yeah, so you choose the hand, the knife, or the shield. The shield gives you a 5 up, Feel No Pain. That's very good. Has a built-in... I think, yeah, that's awesome. Mesmerizing Form. Each time an attack targets this model, -1 to hit. While a friendly Slaanesh Demon's unit is within 6 inches of this model, improve the AP of melee weapons by 1. Yeah, that's tremendous. All of this is now AP 3, because we are a Legionis Demonica unit. Very, very frightening. Not the highest strength, I'll grant you. Not the highest strength, but good volume, good AP. Pretty good AP. Good damage, though, on the Snapping Claws and the Witstealer Sword. I see your comment, Icarus. Yeah. Yeah, I feel similarly about that. Great Unclean One as Putrid Vomit. That's Torrent. It paints a picture with its words. The Mask of Slaanesh. Serrated Claws have devastating wounds, 6 attacks. It's a lone operative. Fights first, which is a big deal. Lone operative with fights first is interesting. Eternal Dance. At the start of the fight phase, select one enemy unit within 6 inches of this model. Until the end of the phase, each time a Slaanesh demon's model makes a melee attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. Wow. That's very good. Very good for my low-strength Slaanesh demons. Each time a model in that enemy unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Oh, yeah, tremendous. What a good epic hero, as is the trend with everything we've seen so far in 10th. All this model is eligible to declare... Okay, and it can advance and charge or fall back and charge. Celeste. Or as I like to think of him as King Xerxes. Ranged weapons are Canophic Choir. That's the power they gave it, eh? 6 minus 1, 1. Double the volume. Still just as random. Hazardous, ignores cover, devastating wounds, and torrent. Okay, well, yeah, very random, but you don't have to roll to hit. That's pretty good. You got your whip. 6 attacks, 4 minus 1, 1. And the weapon melee, which is better weapon skill. Same profile though. And the Axe of Dominion, strength 7 minus 2, 3 damage. Prince of Slaanesh. While this model is leading a unit, and okay, it's a leader, nice. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack, a successful unmodified wound roll of 5 scores a critical wound. Very good for the claws that we can see throughout all the demonettes and heralds that have devastating wounds. That's awesome. So he'll give it, doubling the rate of devastating wounds. And Delightful Agonies. The first time this model is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase. On a 2-up, set this model back up. Oh, get back up on a 2+. With full wounds remaining. Wow. Well, that's pretty wild. Contorted Epitome. Coil Tentacles, d6 extra attacks, 5 minus 1, 2. Or 8 Ravaging Claws. Yeah, look at all those devastating wounds. Psychic Swallow Energy. While this model is leading a unit, models in the unit have Feel No Pain 4+ against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. That's not bad. Very anti-psyker oriented though. At the start of your opponent's shooting phase, one psyker model from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, select one enemy unit within 12 inches and visible to that psyker model and roll 1d6. On a 1, that psyker model suffers d3 mortal wounds. Okay, so on a 1, it hurts itself, but it can't ignore it, right? d3 mortal wounds, ignores mortal wounds on a 4+, which isn't too bad of a penalty, to be honest. And on a 2 to 5, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that enemy unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And on a 6, that enemy unit is not eligible to shoot this phase. Yeah, that's tremendous. That's really good. It is on a 6. But -1, even -1 to hit's still good. Just curse an enemy unit. Blam, you shoot worse now. Yes, so I just want to verify what Celeste could lead Demonettes, and this thing is also, yep, Demonettes, of course. Infernal Enrapturous, my creepy harp lady. The gun looks pretty much where you'd expect it to be, a las cannon. A 24-inch las cannon, that's wild. I think before it was always like 3 damage flat. So now more variable. But it's only 1 damage worse minimum for a lot more potential. Pretty good. Ravaging Claws are 5 attacks, 4 minus 1, 1, standard stat line. While this model is leading a unit in your command phase, you can return d3 destroyed bodyguard models to it. While an enemy Psyker unit is within 12 inches of this model, psychic weapons equipped by models that you have the hazardous ability. Okay, so that's how they did their perils related rules. That's how that's working now. Transweaver. 6 attacks. Okay. Same standard stat line as the other heralds. While this model's leading a unit, models on the unit have the fight first ability. Wow. Yeah, you're going to want a few Transweavers. And Symphony of Pain. At the end of your movement phase, you can select one enemy unit that's battle shocked and within 12 inches of this model. Until the end of the turn, each time a Slaanesh model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Wow. Full hits and rerolls against the target within 12 inches. And that's for shooting, that's for fighting. Yeah, until the end of the turn. That seems very good. You have multiple units. You could proc this in multiple spots, it seems. Okay, Demonettes. Battle line. OC2. Not bad. Not bad for a unit of T3 people. Squad size is reduced, though. Yes, it is. Models have leadership characteristic of 6+ with the icon, and +1 to charge rolls with an instrument. And if you're in Shadow of Chaos, it's a 5+ leadership, that's pretty good. Okay, Swift-Taloned Slaughter. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If the target of that attack is within range of an objective marker, you can reroll the hit roll instead. Okay, so it's like Veterans of the Long War, but for hits. It's not bad. It's gonna it'll allow you to keep more volume, and really, it seems like the strategy is to chip things down with your high volume, because you're pretty low strength with Slaanesh. Fiends. Oh, look at these creepazoids. T5, 4 wounds. That's good. 12-inch movement, which might be the same or slightly less. I can't remember if there were 14 or not before. Okay, all the attacks have been consolidated, which are nice. 5 attacks, 5 -2, 2 damage. I like that. Devastating wounds from being Slaanesh with the crab claws. Cool. Deep strike. Can you still take units of 1? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, while an enemy unit is within... Well, excluding vehicles and Titanic units, are within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model in the enemy unit makes a melee attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's pretty good. Just if they're within 6, so it could affect shooting, not likely. But definitely will always come into play when enemy units fight them. And each time a model in the enemy unit takes a Desperate Escape test, subtract 1 from the hit roll, from the test. So it is trying to get you to force Desperate Escape. I didn't spot any units that forces Desperate Escape innately, like the way Warp Talons do. So it seems like they want you to try and wrap and trap, but that's much harder this edition. You don't have as much freedom with your charge rolls and your pylons. I'm not sure how likely that is, but the -1 to hit it's a pretty good ability. Seekers. Oh, nice. Kept the 14-inch movement. Crazy. T4 save 7. Yeah, pretty normal. You got a Lashing Tongue that does lethal hits. Kind of neat. Unholy Speed, you can reroll advance and charge rolls. I feel like they're more or less the same as where they are currently. Models in the Bears unit have a leadership characteristic of same war gear abilities. There's quick units. You can reach out and tag enemies with. Oh, Scouts 9. That's really nice. Yeah, you could do a first turn charge or two. That advance and charge stratagem, though, that required, yeah, in your army Shadow of Chaos, in the charge phase. And you can only set up Shadows of Chaos on an outward objective at the start of a command phase, so maybe I was too quick to judge. Torment Bringer on Exalted Seeker Chariot. Boatload of attacks. Lashes of Torment, 6 attacks, anti-infantry, 3+ is not bad. No AP, but it's probably cheapest chips. While the friendly Slaanesh Demon's unit is within 6 inches of this model, melee weapons have sustained hits 1. Oh, I like that a lot. Too bad I don't have any of these. Hysterical Frenzy. Once per fight phase, just after an enemy unit selects a Slaanesh Demon's unit from your army as a target, one friendly Psyker that is within 6 inches of that Slaanesh unit and has this ability can use it. If it does until the end of the phase, each time a model in that Slaanesh unit is destroyed, roll a d6 on a 4+, do not remove it from play. Okay, fight on death on a 4-up. Nice. But it relies on this being alive in the fight phase and within 6 inches of whatever unit's being fought. I don't know how viable that is. I mean, this does have a 4-up invulnerable save, though. T6, 5, 12 wounds, save 5+. I don't know. Hellflare, 14-inch movement again. Similar profile, but you got more claws. Oh no, you have a bladed axle. That's what you have here. That's cool. Cutting down the foe. Each time this unit selects the fight, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of it and roll a d6, adding 2 to the result if it's an infantry unit. Okay, so it's always going to pass against infantry. On a 2 to 3, d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 to 5, 3 mortal wounds. And on a 6+, but really on a 4+ versus infantry, d3 + 3. That seems very good. This ugly configuration, it's not ugly, it's just awkward. It's like a sideways oval base for this chariot. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad against infantry. Seeker Chariot. I think I have Exalted Seeker Chariots. No, I do not. Oh, it's below. It's below. I see it here. Okay, 4-inch movement. What's the ability? Scything Impact. Oh, if you make a charge move, your melee weapons have anti-infantry 4+. That's fine. Makes you a good harasser, though. 14-inch movement. Anti-infantry 4+. An Exalted Seeker Chariot is here. Infernal Engines of Torment. In the fight phase, after this model has finished making its attacks, if one or more enemy units were destroyed as a result of those attacks, every enemy unit within 6 inches of this model must take a Battle Shock test. Interesting. You have to destroy the unit. How viable is that to destroy a unit? You have 8 attacks, 8 tongues that are pretty soft. And these at least have devastating wounds, but you have 14 of them. You know what? I don't think I have this. I feel like how many... I wish there was a picture here for which version of the chariot... which version is which, because it gets a little confusing with the demon chariots and all the different ways in which you could build them. But 14 attacks feels like it might require a very large base. Like there must be several demonettes on the chariot. Interesting. Oh, and then we have the undivided stuff. I don't care much for Bellicor. I mean, I think he's very good, don't get me wrong. I just don't care to use him because he is not Slaanesh. Demon Prince of Chaos. This is what I'm interested in. So, yeah. Okay, so this is the data sheet I was... this ability, anyways, is what I was mixing up with the Chaos Space Marine Demon Prince. Gives an aura of stealth. -1 to hit. Very good. And once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can gain a 3-up invulnerable save. -1 to hit with a 3-up invuln to keep you alive from shooting or against a very deadly melee combat. Exactly, Night Squid. The lethal tongue from the Secret Chariots. Okay, I think offensive profiles are the same as what we saw with Chaos Space Marines. T10. With wings, you're T9. Yep, movement 12. This is what I'm interested in. Deep Strike is here. Once per battle, the start of the fight phase, you can use this ability. If it does, add 3 to the attacks. Very good. So you get 9 attacks with the strike. 17 with the sweep. And each time you're selected to fight, you can select one of the following abilities. I like these kind of abilities quite a bit. It gives you a lot of choice, a lot of options depending on what you're going into. Yeah, sustained hits 1 on 6 attacks. Okay. Yeah, because I do like my Chaos Demons, Demon Prince to fly. So this would be the data sheet I'd be looking at. You just give it precision, which is pretty cool. Save you a CP. Or you could use the CP for that heroic intervention strat, or the heroic challenge. Because that's only one CP, I think. Epic challenge, yeah, 1 CP. You gain precision in melee. So you could... Yeah, so keep the sustained or lethal hits, and then, yeah, that option's there. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I don't know. You know what? I think doing 2 indexes is kind of like my limit. Voice is feeling pretty hoarse over here. So I think I'm going to call it here, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, keeping me company as I check out the units that I'm interested in. Thanks to everyone who chatted, who liked the stream, and special thanks to Connor, who super chatted. Much appreciated, man. Tomorrow, I believe GW is doing more Imperium, or the remaining Imperium units. Of those, the only one I want to check out is Custodes. But I'm willing to do 2, kind of like how we did today. So I'll leave it up to... Maybe I'll make a poll. Yeah, maybe I'll make a poll for tomorrow's stream. That's what we'll do. And that poll can run while I do the Custodes, then we'll decide what we're going to look at afterwards. Awesome. All right, dudes. Have a good night. And I'll see you in the next one.